Wow, another crazy day, folks. Another crazy day in the markets. Ethereum has gone home nearly. It's nearly home now. We're looking at the ETH versus Bitcoin chart yet because it's nearly gone home now. Today, almost all of Pablo's targets got hit. Last Friday, my targets for SP 500 and for QQQ, NASDAQ all got hit and then some. They went beyond my targets. And for Bitcoin and Ethereum, they all got hit today. Remember how Pablo said we had the ABC targets, right? I'll show you guys. Pretty much all of them got hit today on the Monday here. And again, Europe hits back. These are all massive news. So Bitcoin, for example, Bitcoin, I said we're going to get this A, B, C pattern. And the line in the sand for me was this blue line here, right? And it hit it exactly at this 88.4K level. And then I said my target is 73. We hit 74 today, right? Like 73.5, that's the top of, and we hit 74.2.3 today. So what happens next? How does this channel plays out? And keep in mind, a number of these massive major indexes such as Bitcoin or or the SP 500 are coming close to their major long-term support now. What happens next? This is going to be a massive episode. And before we go on, quickly, let's just answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo Heyman use? Well, Pablo uses an exchange that is non-KYC. That means they don't ask you for ID. That means, yes, Americans can use it. Anybody can use it. They can't even see who you are. That means the IRS can't see you. The tax office can't see you. The FBI, CIA, nobody can see you, totally private. That's why I like them. And Pablo's made this private deal with them. Over $8,000 of prizes for newbies just for joining and trading. Over 1.3 million users, and it's the fastest growing crypto exchange in the world right now. Okay, so, but only on this link. If you're watching on YouTube right now, then the link is in the description below. The link is in the description below. If you're watching on some other platform, such as this one, then click on my profile page and then click on this Sten link right here, right? And it's the first deal that comes up in my Sten link because this is a big deal. Okay, so back to the markets, but keep in mind, guys, only on the Pablo Heyman deal, only on the Pablo link. There it is, the Sten link, first one right there. Okay, let's go. So Bitcoin, in my opinion, pretty much hit my target, like missed it by a tiny little bit today. In my opinion, Bitcoin is basically going to do a few, like one more bounce down, something like this, and probably end right on this red trend line and wick through it, something like this, right? If it does, then it would have hit my target 73 exactly, and then even pierced a little bit to go below. And then you've got two major levels of support here. So one is this area around, and that's around the let's see, that's around 69, right? That's how Bitcoin doesn't get there. Hopefully we just get one more pierce here, like to 71K, hit my target of 73, and then bounce off this massive large rising trend line. So to put it all in perspective, this is where we are now. So basically, this line here is drawn because this was the old all-time high, around 68, 69K. And then this large red trend line is basically has supported Bitcoin for this entire bull run. It's only been tested once so far. So I think chances are we get some sort of dip like this and we bounce off it. And we should get at least above 100K on the bounce. Even if the bull market has ended, we should get a big bounce that's at least above 100K. And then I do think there's a chance to get above 109K and go for a blow off top, depending on what happens to the stock market, depending on what the Federal Reserve does. Speaking of which, a couple of very crazy things happened today. So everyone was expecting the Federal Reserve to come in for a emergency meeting. They had a meeting at 11:30 today, and people like myself are still waiting to see if they're going to rescue the markets. Turns out this was not a emergency meeting. This was a scheduled meeting. They schedule it like 2 weeks in advance. They always have these private meetings where they schedule it like 2-3 weeks in advance. And I'm sure at the meeting they will be really worried about what's going on in the markets right now. And I'm sure they're talking about it. But so far, like I'm pretty sure the meeting's finished now, but they haven't given us any rate cuts or any end to QT. But however, the head of bond yields, the head of fixed income bond trading at JP Morgan, one of the big three, has come out and said, I'm pretty sure the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates before the next real meeting, which is on May the 7th. We've got 30 days to go until then. I tend to agree with him that I think the Fed, even though they're stuck with so much inflation, they're probably still going to have to cut rates. Now, we're going to go have a look at Ethereum because it hit my target today for the ABC as well. ABC pullback. But before we do look at ETH and if Ethereum has gone home against Bitcoin or not, let's have a look at a couple of really big important charts, because as I've been telling you guys, it's the stock market that dictates this whole thing. So here is the stock market. Now look, stock market has already hit its major right trend line. If we put it onto natural scale, look at this. This was the area I was emphasizing. My target is 524. It smashed through it last week. I was saying, look, we have an A, B, C. For folks who've been watching my videos, I'm sure you know what's going on. That was the weekly chart. So here's the daily chart. I said we're going to do A, B, C, and hit 524. It didn't stop there. It didn't stop at the inside the rising channel either. It's gone boom, hit this red line, and then bounced. And it's so important, so important that it bounces off this red line, because look at this. This red line is like that red line I just showed you guys on Bitcoin. It's basically the red line, trend line that has carried the SP 500, carried the entire US stock market for this entire bull run. This was March 2020, the COVID crash, right? The COVID crash looks tiny now, doesn't it? And then big bounce, and then small bear market, right? Actually went down 20%, bottomed in October 2022, and then, just keeps on making new all-time highs, then crash, boom. Back onto this trend line. Usually what happens is two levels to watch. One is this 487 level, and one is this 476, 477 level. 477 is the old high coming out of COVID. This was the COVID bounce. This was the old high, then the bear market. So bouncing off this old high makes sense, right? Something like here, and bouncing off this red line makes sense. So I think we're near a high probability area for a decent bounce. Like a disappointing bounce would be something like boom, hit 524 and pull back. We already did that today. We already hit that today. Like even on that fake news, fake news that Trump was going to cut 90 days of he was going to negotiate with every country except China for 90 days. Even just on that news alone, it basically bounced and hit 524 and already pulled back. So even in one day that happened. Realistically, I think something like 565 is a good level to look for, because that's just assume. We don't know if the bull market has finished yet, but let's assume if the bull market has finished, then at least it can hit these two old highs here, right? These old highs were at this 564 level, all right? 564 level, and also it's the top of this channel once again, right? Because this channel has proven useful to us so often. This is why I made the 550 bottom call. So more likely we could get a bounce like this, hit something like this, and then go down if the bull market is finished. But depending on what the Fed does, depending on what Trump does, it's so crazy right now. It changes every half an hour. Then we could even go higher, like 584. And I would not rule out a blow off top right now yet either. Let's have a look at QQQ. It has a cleaner chart than the NASDAQ. So on the QQQ, we can see this. We can see that it is also bouncing off major support area. QQQ is the NASDAQ 100 ETF, by the way, guys. So have a look at this. So look at this. It was in this nice channel, broke, and when it came here, I said, no, it's going down because we've retested that and then lost that level. We couldn't get back above this trend line. Then this acts as resistance, then we're going down. So my target was something like 440. It smashed right through it as well. So A, B, C, and I should have done a measured move. A measured move is when you take the distance of A and then add it like that distance and then add it from here. And then, let's see if this actually would give us an accurate call or not. So I'll know to use it next time. So this was a 74.5 point move, leg C, right? The leg C down. So we take 74 points off this 493, then we'll get to 419. 419 would have been here. It would have been more accurate than the one I had, which is around 440, right? And then, so this level right now, 404, 402, obviously very important once again, because it is the old top coming from the bounce out of COVID crash, but QQQ is still way above its rising support here, right? This rising channel, this rising trend line. However, just be careful because QQQ is already in NASDAQ is already in bear territory. If it was to touch that, then that's deep bear territory. So that's now have a look at Ethereum and see if it's gone home against Bitcoin or not. Because Ethereum hit my target today. My target was at 1520 and actually pierced through it because crypto is kind of much more volatile. So here is the ABC move. A, B, C. I said if Bitcoin goes to 73, which it almost nearly did, then Ethereum would go to this 1520 area, but obviously usually they wick through, and I didn't think it was going to wick through to 1410, right? That's a big move. Now, so because ETH has dumped so quickly, it's starting to look like a capitulation candle to me, because see how the capitulation candles like here are very sharp. They don't go down slowly. Like say these ones go down slowly, they go down slowly. This one's boom, straight to the bottom. Like so right now, look how sharp it is. It's basically taking very little time for ETH to go from 4,000 to 1,400, especially this last leg down, right? It's getting really fast. So if I have to pick a level, if Bitcoin goes to say like 72, 71K, then probably ETH does something like this, like wick into this 1300s area again, and there's a good chance I think we bottom there, and at least go for a big bounce. If ETH was to go for a big bounce, then when it comes back, first level to clear is this 1764 area, and then second level would be 2000, and then next major level 2100, and the next one, obviously the big ones, 2400. Okay, let's have a look at Ethereum going against Bitcoin. Bitcoin, has ETH gone home yet? So from what I can see on the charts, we are almost there. So like we can see here, that was like 0.016. Can we see that? 0.016, and right now we're at 0.019, so it's almost there. When we get to this level, roughly, this is what people mean by ETH is going home. Then what happens is basically we look for these sort of bottoming tail candles. See this, a tail to the bottom, or the bottoming tail candle that mark the exact bottom. This was also not perfect, but kind of a bottoming tail candle, and weekly, these both weekly as well, marked the second bottom. So we had a double bottom on Ethereum, and then we tended to go up. And this date was like September 2nd of September 2019. As I have been emphasizing, that was the exact day when the Fed ended QT. So I'm also looking for that to happen again. This time, people say that, oh, just because Fed ends QT does not mean Fed starts QE. Not officially, but the Fed assets balance book does actually start going up. So that's called stealth QE. But what most people are forgetting this time is that China is going to do a huge liquidity pump. And that's the second largest economy in the world. And they're very influential to Bitcoin and crypto. Why are they doing that? Because China is now being hit by massive Trump tariffs up to 70%. So they have to pump their own economy and let their own consumers start spending. Okay, to all the Aussies, Pablo uses SwiftX exchange, which the link is in the description below. And for everyone else, thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next.